Good afternoon, everyone. It's 2:40 on 30th of June, Monday, 2025. And, oh, a Chinese car here. Looks kind of like a Land Rover-ish kind of a sort of a deal here. Anyway, okay. I don't have that much time. It's just, I wanted to complain about the weather. Well, it looks like it's going to rain. If you look over there, the sky is dark, but getting so much friggin' wind or rain. Or this morning it was really cold. You could barely go out with a t-shirt. It's a Russian car here, some years old. Maybe you don't see these at all in the States anyway. Look at this, somebody throwing away some, no, stuff. Anyway. Thought it was like some tile. Okay, let's get on with the news here. Some critics are giving Trump a negative label, and I guess what they're calling him is taco. You know, not burger, because he likes McDonald's burgers. They're calling him taco. And I guess, what does that mean? That means Trump always chickens out. That's what they're saying. Well, they were saying that before what went on in Iran. It's like somebody was going to park here. Look at all these weeds over here. Let's just go take a look. How did I know that guy was going to park there? Maybe it's a reserved parking place here. Let's walk over here where the grass is mowed. Yeah, Trump always chickens out. I think maybe they're referring to, at least originally, what was going on, say, with the Houthis. But what is it? It's maybe Trump is actually trying not to spend so friggin' much money. Maybe that's what it was, and he realized he couldn't beat the Houthi, so he tucked his tail between his legs and took off. I think it was mostly to do with spending money, because the Houthi have a lot of their assets underground, and of course Iran has some too. I'll get into a little bit of that. I wonder if I am supposed to be here. I don't even know. See, this over here, there's a I think it's a dental clinic. It's a government-owned dental clinic, so I'm not saying that's the reason why I shouldn't. I just don't know. Okay, anyhow, Trump always chickens out. Mr. Taco! And it's not really accurate anyway. I just was saying that somebody was saying that, and I'm thinking maybe it has also something to do with his tariff policy on China. I think he's the one that actually stopped that. He was starting to ratchet it up higher and higher, and China wasn't really giving in so much, and it was starting to hurt the United States quite a bit. So he said he made a deal with China. I don't know if he did or not. I didn't hear anything from China. You know, a lot of these people, such as the Iranians, he says, oh, I talked to the Iranians and blah, blah. And the Iranians say, we never talked to him. So Trump, I don't know. Trump has this penchant for saying things that never really happened. I don't know. Because I tell you what, I'd believe the Iranians before I would believe any Western politician at all, anywhere. So, okay. And now, anyway, I was thinking Iran, I would call that a stalemate. I wouldn't say Iran won. I wouldn't say the United States won. I'd say that was a stalemate. You know, Trump was getting too much flack from his base because he was doing exactly everything he said that he was against anybody else doing. So he did it anyway. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson are some of his biggest supporters. They were ticked off. Wind. I don't know where to go. I don't know if you guys can hear me. My voice is giving out a little bit for some odd reason. Maybe I've been screaming at people too much. No, that's not happening. I don't know. Okay. But I'll tell you, I think this taco thing comes from the neocons. It probably even came from Lindsey Graham. And I'm not saying Lindsey Graham said that. He probably set somebody up to call Trump a taco so that he would bomb Iran. You know, like I said, that came up before he actually bombed Iran. So let me walk through the weeds here. and it's a lot of people are talking about it, and of course maybe most of you would say the same thing. I don't know. I haven't really given that much thought about it. Actually, I've given some thought about it, but not a lot. But calling him a taco, I think, is partly because they're playing against his ego, and saying, "Oh, you chickened out. You're a coward." And Donald Trump, I am the greatest at everything. I have the greatest economy. Look at these beautiful hands. I can do everything better than everybody else. I can do anything better than you can. I can do anything better than Obama and Biden can. So, Donald Trump. So I don't know. I think I'll tell you what. There's a very good indication that Donald Trump, he has a, what do they call that in German? A Minderwert complex. He's got like I think it's an inferiority complex. And maybe that's why he has to build himself up by saying that everything he does is the greatest, and making things up and saying, oh, we obliterated all of Iran's sites. And they didn't. And I guess there has been some Bestätigung. Why am I thinking in German today? There's been some, I don't even know the word English anyway. I don't know it in Russian either, but anyway, there's confirmation. There's confirmation even from his own military. Let's get going on this in a bit here. So, taco. And I guess they're calling this what Donald Trump did, or actually what Israel did. Not Donald Trump, but what Israel did, they're calling it the Red Wedding. It goes after that name. I think they called that in Game of Thrones when they acted like they were the friends of the Starks. Remember the whatever those bunch of people are that had control of their little minor power, and they had control of some little crossing or something, and in order to get so the Starks could get some sort of access. I think Robb Stark was supposed to marry the daughter. I'm not sure if it was the fat ugly daughter or whatever. I can't remember Game of Thrones so well, but anyway, well, they massacred all the Starks that were there. So it was they shut the doors, they had swords hidden and all that, and they killed all the Starks. And it's it was like they fooled them, in other words, and that's, I guess, what they're saying Donald Trump and the Israelis did. They fooled the Iranians, and lulled them and said, oh, you have 2 weeks, all this kind of weird stuff. Oh, we're still going to do negotiations. We want a negotiated settlement. And then they attacked. So that's why they called it the Red Wedding, because they lied. They lied to Iran and killed all those generals. And they killed a whole bunch of their scientists. And they're still having funerals, I guess, even to this very day in Iran. A lot of people are in mourning, for those people. And they killed a lot of other people besides. I think the death toll, I saw one death toll number, I think it was 633. I've seen a death toll of as high as 800. And I think how many Israelis died? 24. So they killed a lot more. That doesn't mean, Israel won because they killed more Iranians. But I guess it's a huge amount of damage. I guess there was a lot of damage in the port at Haifa. And it's going to take Israel longer to recover from the damage than it is going to take Iran to recover from the damage. I guess that Fordo nuclear facility, they're already starting reconstruction on that. And some of the things that Israel lost, it's going to take much, much longer. There's somebody was saying something about that port in Haifa. They can get most of it operational by October. I guess that was an Israeli estimate. Who knows if that's going to be true or not. What else do we have here? And let's see, some lady is getting in her car that was looking at me real suspicious like. She still is. Okay. And it looks like Israel is smuggling drugs in flour going to Gaza, and that makes me wonder, why would they do that? Because then the the Palestinians would be getting at the Gazans. It's in the Gaza aid. I guess it's called, one is a oxycodone. I don't know. What does that do to you? Are the Palestinians supposed to be taking that? The Gazan Palestinians, or is it for the Israelis? I don't know. I guess there's pills in there. And I guess there's been 4 incidences, 4 reports already about these pills in the flour. Figure that one out. And the United States is even involved in that, because this company Um, let's see, what is it called? It's a U.S. company called Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and it's mostly a joint operated by Israel and the United States. But figure it out. What is the point of that? Why are they doing that? You know? Okay, now let's get on to this part here where the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the SINC, Commander-in-Chief of the United States military. In other words, the highest ranking general in the entire United States military. There's a guy named Kane here. Daniel Kane. And he came out and admitted, he said, well, I mean, everybody knows already that they didn't use bunker busters there. They only used the buster bunkers on Fordow. And the other ones, they had a lot of Tomahawk missiles launched at that. However, there's one site, Isfahan, the Isfahan site, those nuclear facilities are buried deeper than Fordow, and they can't get them, not even with bunker busters. So this Daniel Kane, the highest general in the United States military, said, we didn't even bother doing it. They're way too deep when we can't get to them. In other words, they didn't destroy it at all. So Donald Trump, and there's been a lot of people talking about, well, why did he say that they obliterated it when he didn't obliterate it anyway, when there was some question about it? And I think it's maybe to stop him from bombing some more. So maybe it's actually a good thing, you know, that he's lying, because maybe he doesn't want to keep these wars going. And I think Donald Trump probably knows that Iran is not building a nuclear bomb. Weapons anyway. They don't have a what is it called, weaponized nuclear program, but he's doing this for Israel, just like so many other presidents ever since President Johnson. Whenever the United States goes to wars, 99% of the time it is for Israel. It's like that's why I say in my videos, I said, who is actually really in charge? I mean, who's the big cheese here? Is it Israel or is it the United States? So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But obviously Israel controls so many politicians, as I've said many times, and I think even Candace Owens was doing something. She made something about the Israeli lobby, and Marjorie Taylor Greene was on Tucker, I guess just a day or two ago, and she's saying the same thing. They're too powerful. You know, they make or break you, and they can pay for somebody else to run against you if you're like just a regular congressperson. They did it with Cynthia McKinney back in those days, and what I'm curious is about Ilhan Omar. How has she been holding out, of Minnesota? I was even reading something before, and they said, oh, they're going to deport her. Well, they didn't deport her. Anyway, I don't know. I have no idea. But Israel has a lot of power. They can run somebody against you. They can turn everyone against you. A lot of people are already against that. But if you're in the Democratic Party, I guess you might have a chance. Ilhan Omar does. I don't know. So it is, what is it? Too deep. Okay. Israel Katz. If you guys remember who I'm, not Kitty Katz. Israel Katz, he's the Minister of Defense of Israel. He said that they are planning, well, you know, I don't know, a lot of blah, 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 blah. You know, some of that comes out of Netanyahu too, as well. But Netanyahu tries to always follow through with it in some way or form. You know, anyway, threatens and threatens and threatens. If he possibly could do what he says, he would be doing probably all of it. But Israel Katz, Minister of Defense, he said Israel will use the Lebanon model on Iran. And I guess the Lebanon model is, you know, what first they did anyway. They bombed the crap out of Lebanon, you know, and then they started just bombing I guess the whole idea was to neutralize Hezbollah as much as possible, and apparently they did a pretty good job of that, and bombing a lot of things there. And they're using a lot of spies. They have spy satellites. They got all kinds of, Israel has so many different tools. Just like they did in Iran as well. A lot of spies. They smuggled drones in. You know, they don't mess around. They do everything covert, terrorist actions, nothing like you would ever believe. I tell you what, it's incredible. So anyway, the Lebanon model. So what they're going to probably do, they say they're going to do. I don't think it's possible, to be honest with you, because Iran is not the Hezbollah. They're not tiny. They're actually pretty big, and that Lebanon model means like make them very weak, and then whenever at least they say, whenever they feel there's a threat, then they bomb it. But it's maybe not even that. They just feel like they can bomb anything they want to anyway, bombing hospitals. They bombed altogether 40 hospitals in Lebanon in that short period of time. They bombed every single hospital in Gaza. They bombed them all out. Bombed them all. They hit a lot. I don't know if it was like 20 or something like that in Iran as well. A lot of people weren't talking about that. They bombed a lot of hospitals. And remember, they were saying, oh, Hamas, they put their bases underneath the hospitals. Yeah, so that we don't bomb them using human shields. Well, it turns out that that's what Israel does. That's what Israel does. Hamas didn't do that. I was talking about that in the last video. They go in there and they find some little area in the basement, and they have an old desk, and they put 2 rusty rifles down there. They planted them. You couldn't even fire them. They're all rusty. And they did it to make it look, see, they had a base down here. I don't even know if it had electricity wired in down there. You know, but it was all fake anyway. Turns out Israel does that. And just like that one that they did hit, what was the name of that place? Doesn't matter anyway. I think I mentioned it in one video. And Iran bombed right nearby there. It was a headquarters. It was some military intelligence headquarters. It was one of the bigger ones. And they bombed it, and it was, so to speak, next door. So it blew out the windows of the hospital, you know. But it didn't do any real structural damage at all to the hospital. And there's Netanyahu. He went there and said, see what they do, look at what they do, they bomb hospitals. Oh, with the children's war there. And 0 people died. Wait a minute, if they bombed the hospital, they would have killed a whole bunch of people. And there's some people that are halfway dead anyway, so they would have died as well. Well, how come that didn't happen? Oh, because he lied. Not one person died there anyway. Plus, I think they were evacuated. Iran gave heads up and said, we're going to be bombing this area. I don't know how much time in advance. You know, they're kind of doing that sort of thing now anyway. And I think the U.S. even did that, I guess, before they bombed a few facilities. So it's a strange thing, but that's what they're doing, to make sure that at least no innocent people get killed. Maybe, I think even Israel did that for some areas. That's incredible. Normally they like to kill innocent people, especially children. Children are the #1 target always. They never did that in Gaza. They just go ahead and bomb them and kill them because they want them out of there. They want them exterminated. Exterminate, must terminate, sterilize, sterilize. You are imperfect, sterilize, sterilize. Anyway, so what else here? Oh, there is a new head of MI6, I guess, for a few days. Her name is Blaise Metraveli. Metraveli. And it turns out she is the granddaughter of a big Nazi. You know, and Maria Zakharova, you know, the spokesperson for the Russian government, not Putin. Putin's spokesman is Peskov, but I think it's for the Russian, at least for the press corps, you know, like Maria Zakharova. But she was putting out that it's very strange, and a lot of people have been talking about this already anyway. Why are they finding all of these descendants of Nazis and putting them in the top position? And if you believe it or not, they were doing that immediately after World War II. I guess the first person in charge of what will become the European Union, I think then, I don't know, was it called the European Council or whatever? That guy was a Nazi. They have photos of him. He took his Nazi uniform off, and then they made him in charge of the European Community or European Union or whatever what it was called back then. That's incredible. And it's like nobody batted an eyebrow. Annalena Baerbock, I think her grandfather was a big Nazi. Ursula von der Leyen, she's kind of old already. Maybe it was her grandfather, not great-grandfather. Anyway, but a lot of these people, she's noticing that there's a whole bunch of them. I don't even know all the names. I just know those ones right there. But there's probably at least 10 of them, and their grandfathers or great-grandfathers were big Nazis, and they're putting them in the top positions in the European Union, and they have been from the beginning. NATO, European Union. Oh, you guys can't hear that. Dun, 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 dun. 3 o'clock, must be 3. Okay. And now it's also been discovered, the IAEA, they were spying on Iran. Believe it or not, spying on Iran for Israel. That's absolutely incredible. A lot of people are projecting that it's possible they were spying for the United States as well. Looks like this is probably a Chinese car. Probably a Dongfang. It says DS7. Let's see if it says a name on the front here. I have no idea. I'm not so much into cars anymore. This is an old Lada here, old Russian. Here comes an electric car, electric Chinese car. No noise. Anyway, they were spying. They were spying on Iran and Grossi, and they were reporting all of the information to Israel. They were telling about the strengths and all that. That's what they said. How the United States found out is because they project. It's probably that they were reporting to the United States and talking about how strong these bunkers are, what it's reinforced with, all that kind of stuff. And that's why they figured out, oh, we cannot penetrate bunker buster bombs as deep as Isfahan. You know, maybe they could have. They probably would have had to drop 6 of them, one right after the other in the same place. Maybe they can penetrate to a certain depth. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a big expert on these bombs or anything. So, looks like everybody's here. I'll tell you what, it's much better if you're going around in the city when there's a lot of people, because then people, they just glance and then they keep going on with their business, like I do too. I would look at somebody if they're going around, especially speaking some weird language, and then I just keep on doing wherever I'm going because there's so much going on inside of a city. But here, a lot of people, they stop and stare at you for a long time. I wonder what, I've never been over here. I think there's a gate here. It's normally shut, so let's see. This is the place I was telling you from over there that was a dental clinic of some sort. I don't know. I don't want to get locked in there if I have to. Look at this, a lot of the storage things here. Stomatologue. I'll just take a glance. Ah, it's just behind the building is all. Looks like they got a park over there. Yeah. None of my business, none of my business. So let's see. They were also reporting a lot of the personal information, like the IAEA was reporting a lot of the personal information of a lot of those scientists. And as far as I know, they even probably found out where they lived, and they probably had spies there as well, but they've been doing this for a long, long time. I guess for 2 years, they were working up to doing this attack, trying to find out where all of these scientists live. And they were doing that already a long time ago anyway. They were years ago. Do you remember they had motorcycles stuck in like traffic? There was like, whenever there was for example, a traffic jam, or somebody stopped at a red light, and the motorcycle would drive up next to a car and put a magnetic bomb on the side right by the door, and then drive off really fast. So the thing would blow up and it would kill who's ever inside. It would blow up the car. So Israel was doing that many years ago. They're masters of assassinations anyway. I remember they acted like in one hotel. I think it was somebody from Hamas. They were in Dubai or Bahrain, some place they're supposed to have some sort of an agreement with. But they went there acting, and it was even women Mossad. And they acted like they were tennis players. So they checked into this hotel, and maybe they even asked for a particular room. I have no idea. But anyway, when they were there, they assassinated somebody there from, I believe it was Hamas. And they don't even care if these people are not military Hamas, spiritual leaders possibly of Hamas. Oh, step down there. So that's what they do. Terrorism as well, killing a lot of people. They don't care if they kill a lot of people besides. They don't even care if they kill Jewish people anymore. It used to be big taboo, but now they crossed that line. As you noticed in the Hannibal Directive, they killed Israelis. That part of that was to kill Israelis just so they would not come into the hands of Hamas at that time. So they killed everybody. If there was one Hamas person there, I don't know, 3 Hamas, whatever, and 10 hostages, they would kill all of them. That's what Israel was doing on that day, and they killed, like, I guess altogether it was maybe 300 and something. And Hamas wasn't trying to kill anybody, 0. They were trying to get hostages to trade them for Palestinian hostages. And that's what they were wanting them for. They didn't go there to kill. And of course, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu, he comes and makes up some lies. They killed and they raped and they killed 1,200, and I think the death toll might have been like 300, which is still a lot of people actually. But I think it's very, very possible that maybe only 3 of them, or none of them even, maybe were killed by Hamas, and all of them were killed by the Israelis. It's very, very possible. You'd have to see those reports from Max Blumenthal of the Gray Zone. He did really well on that. He's one of the main people that I guess exposed that. And back then, I was even talking about it, back then in 2023, that I knew that was a fake thing. So let's see. The West is conducting what a lot of people fear. I think I was already calling it a color revolution when I saw this. And now Russia is asking, are they going to be trying a color revolution in Serbia? Well, yes, they are. And you know how they do this? They tell you it's a free bus ride, free food, and even free hotel rooms. So they booked people in hotels, and so they can ship you from Germany and from France and all that. So you get these bus rides. And in some cases, I can't remember where that was. It wasn't even long ago. They gave them airplane flights. They flew them. So you get a free flights to some place to protest somewhere against somebody. To get a lot of people on the streets, holding up signs. You're paid. A lot of times you are paid. You're paid money to go do that. So a lot of times you see people going around that are interviewing these people on the streets, either for color revolutions or anything, even in the United States. And a lot of the people protesting, they don't even know what they're protesting about. It's absolutely incredible. So, but they're doing it right now in Serbia. Remember I told you guys, there's a person, he's a planner, and this is a NATO planner. His name is Gunther Fehlinger. He is a economist from Austria. And he's one of the planners for the expansion of NATO. And his most hated country is Belarus. He hates this country more than any country, probably because he hates Lukashenko, because they're not able to come in here and take the place over, like they did with so many other countries. And his second most hated country is Serbia. So there they are, they're working on Serbia right now. And remember, when was that? Like not even, I think it was maybe a year ago. Maybe it was a year ago. Victoria Nuland, before she left her post in the State Department, she said the United States is not going to stop trying to overthrow the government of Belarus. So there you have it. And they tried in 2020, and then they tried. What was it? When I first got here, they were trying to, and it was on May 9th, on the parade day. They were going to assassinate Lukashenko and his entire family. The whole deal was to assassinate the entire family at that time. So anyway, they're still working on it. Woo! It's the wind here. It's kind of difficult to do videos. Luckily, on those times I went to the castle, we had some good days. So let's see. Where am I at here? Okay, color revolution in Serbia. So lots of thousands and thousands of people. It's actually getting kind of violent there. They're throwing out, the protesters. It's very, very, very much like what was going on in Georgia. There's a kitty. It's like it's pregnant or was pregnant. Has babies. If I can sneak up on it over here. I'll be coming here to see if there's any food around. What you doing, looking for food, huh? That looks like a mama cat. Okay. Oh, I guess it was over 100 buses they sent from who knows from where. I don't know. I don't know how many more is that. Free ride, free drinks, hotel. Okay, at the same time, they're having a, believe it or not, they're having an LGBT big rally protest sort of a thing in Budapest. Even Greta Thunberg, hot off the press right after leaving Palestine. And actually I agreed with her thing there, but I think that was a setup, because she was all happy and everything about this, when she was taken, arrested, I guess, on her deal from that boat in Palestine. And this one here, it's a show anyway. So she was being interviewed, and you know, LGBT, you know, she's still a tool apparently from the deep state, or, you know, the George Soros part of it anyway. So, yes. Okay. What else? Oh, they have these charges against Bibi Netanyahu. A lot of people are saying that he's trying to keep these wars going. That's why he's bombing all over the place. He's bombing Gaza, bomb, bomb, bomb. Keep the violence going. Keep killing and killing and killing and bombing and making these threats and bombing Lebanon, bombing. And then he was bombing the Houthi because the Houthi were bombing him because of them bombing and killing all those children. I guess it's officially just a little under 20,000 children, they say. Well, that's the official, but everybody knows that it was far more than 20,000 children that they've killed. Some people, like I said, some people said 377,000 people were killed. I don't know about that, but most people, they do agree that there's 100,000 people that were killed, but so many people are buried underneath the rubble and they can't possibly get them out. A lot of people are blown to pieces, many pieces, and you can't just piece all these people together because they're dropping these bombs directly onto people, the Israelis. It's not like, oh, giving you a 1 or 2 days notice to get out, or even 6 hours. They just bomb them. You know, the whole idea is to kill them and the ethnic cleansing. So, anyway, Trump is saying that Bibi Netanyahu is a war hero. You know, some people saying a war criminal. Some people call Donald Trump a war criminal. Hey, you know, to me, I'll tell you what, when he bombed Soleimani, they set it up. And I think I even talked about that already. Soleimani was there trying to make peace with Saudi Arabia. It was not any kind of a mission. And as a matter of fact, I don't know, bombing and killing this guy, Soleimani, and 16 other people. Did Donald Trump ever show us any of the evidence that Soleimani was doing anything that they ever accused him of doing? Just like Assad? Do they have any evidence? They never have any evidence. You know, the thing, it goes on and on. It's just like so many other times in U.S. history. It's always just fake. It's just fake. It's just lie after lie after lie after lie in order to get everybody behind. So it's great. Oh yeah, we have to do them because we have to kill them over there so they don't come and kill us over here. You know? Well, Caesar did it too. That's why he had the conquest of Gaul. You know, to bring civilization to the Gauls. Napoleon said his attack on Italy was to bring liberty to the people from their tyrant leaders. That's why he invaded Italy, because the leaders were tyrants, and he's bringing them liberty. I don't know if that's what he said. I don't know what he said about Belarus when he came here, and then Russia and all that. And Afghanistan, that was to bring freedom and rights to the women of, you know, from being oppressed from the Taliban. You know, probably wasn't very nice. I don't know. I think that looked pretty bad. Maybe I bought into that. I don't know. And Iraq, weapons of mass destruction that they never found. So we have to go there because they're going to bomb us. Unless we'll have a mushroom cloud over New York. Remember, that's what they said? Oh, man. Oh, I guess, yeah, Belarus was to free the people from an evil dictator that wants the people to be miserable and secret prisons and tortures and stuff that nobody's ever been able to find here in Belarus either. And some of these people, they said that Lukashenko killed, they have photographs and maybe even video footage of them relaxing, drinking Mai Tais at a pool in the UK. I remember that was one person that they said Lukashenko got. Anyway, so, oh, remember that prison I was telling you guys about that Israel bombed a prison? I guess it was called Evin Prison, and Israel bombed it. And they bombed like the whole front part of it. You know, hoping maybe that a lot of prisoners would get out and cause havoc in Iran, go raping and murdering or whatever. A lot of them were mostly all political prisoners anyway, I guess. And but anyway, that killed 71 people, and it didn't kill like guards. It killed guards and it killed convicts and the housing nearby in apartments. It killed people there. Altogether, 71 people. Yes. And maybe some of them were the family of the guards as well as prisoners, believe it or not, family of people that were imprisoned there. They're probably renting or something in apartments there, and then of course Israel killed them too. Yeah, pretty stupid move if you ask me. But anyhow, that's mostly all the news I have for today. It's not, there's a lot of fallout and things from the 12-day wars, whatever it's called there, and you never know what to believe. Anyway, but it looks like one of those sites is completely intact for now. I don't know. And then Donald Trump said, no, they didn't get the nuclear material out of there. What they were doing is bringing more concrete to reinforce something like that. Oh yeah, I'm sure it's going to get dry that fast. I don't know. And like I said, we don't know what the real truth is, but there's no radiation measured there, and I guess they can measure that maybe even from satellites or something. I have no idea, but nobody's measured any radiation leaks or any kind of a contamination. So I kind of believe the Iranians a little bit in that case. Anyway, people getting off work, I guess. Now it was after 3 o'clock. So anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye. Oh, one more thing. Somebody, it's actually kind of funny. Some people are putting some bad comments on. Sometimes I can't get rid of them for a little while. It's just some people, they never have anything. Well, what is wrong or something? They never have anything concrete. They just have insults. So that's how you know that the stuff they say is not even true. They make stuff up. This one guy, I should have read a little bit more on his. He called me like I even told you guys before, a middle-aged liberal, alcoholic liberal or something like that. I'm not middle-aged, I'm older than that. I'm not a liberal at all. And I'm not even alcoholic. One beer makes you an alcoholic. Anyway, so thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.